Hi there, my name's Simon Patterson. I'm a freelance MotoGP journalist, travelling around the world, following motorbikes, having fun. I think my hope for this is that I can introduce people to things that they didn't necessarily know a lot about, or if it's something that you do know quite a bit about, I can give you a little bit of a different angle on it by getting in there and having a look around and seeing what we can see. There's so much history and science history, without going too meta, that is right on our doorstep that we kind of pass by. And I've spent hours and hours and hours over the last few years jumping between Wikipedia and Atlas Obscura, trying to find new things to visit and new places that interest me. So I think that's probably one caveat to what we're trying to do. Everywhere that you're going to see is somewhere that I want to go and visit. But hopefully that's interesting enough that everyone else gets a bit of a kick out of it as well. I realized that I wasn't enjoying the travel that I was doing with MotoGP. I love to travel, I love to see weird and wonderful things on the road, but I wasn't really getting a chance to do that because we all settle into this bizarre routine of airport, race circuit, hotel, airport, home. And you don't see any of the things that are along the road apart from brief glimpses from the window of a hire car. So I decided I was going to change it up. I bought a van. I converted the van into a motorhome during the first lockdown, and I did the next 2 MotoGP seasons living out of the van, avoiding flying, avoiding COVID, avoiding travel restrictions, and generally seeing a hell of a lot more of the world. Since then, I've sold the first van, and I've just picked up another one, which I'm in the process of converting so that we can take on the full European season again. So despite somehow finding myself working as a motorsports journalist, I've never actually done any formal MotoGP journalism qualification, anything like that. Instead, I spent 4 years in Dundee in Scotland studying forensic science, which actually turns out to have been quite a useful degree for what I've ended up doing. It gave me a background in report writing, in research, in some engineering stuff, definitely some photography. As well as that, despite having found myself in MotoGP now and working in this crazy world that I do work in, it's also given me a love for science that I've carried right through, and I'm lucky enough that I get to explore that a little bit as I travel around for the day job. For the last 2 years, I've pretty much left the country at the start of the season and came back at the end. I left Northern Ireland in April of 2021 and I returned mid-December. In between races, I've always got something that I can find to entertain myself. I spent 2 weeks following the Tour de France last year because I had nothing else to do, why not? But I also try and visit as many sort of weird and wonderful places along the way as I can. Because of that background in science and because of a massive love of history, I can generally always find something that's a little bit off the beaten trail to spend some time at. Be it ruins, wrecks, battlefields, cemeteries, science laboratories, radio telescopes in the top of mountains. There's always something I can find along the way that keeps me entertained. Oh, this season. So we're recording this in mid-February, and I've already done something like 18,000 miles this year. I've been to Malaysia, I've been to Indonesia, and I'm just preparing to head off to the first round of the championship in Qatar. After that, we go back to Indonesia, then we go to Argentina and to Texas. That starts our European season. We do, I think, something like 15 rounds in a row across Europe. After that, it's back on a plane again for another few races at the end of the year as we go to Thailand, Japan, Australia, Malaysia, and then back to Europe for one last race, and the end of a 21 round season that stretches from early March until mid-November, I think. So for the first time since I joined MotoGP, for the first time really since the late 1970s, the championship is going back to Scandinavia with a race in Finland, and I'm really, really excited about that. There's a lot of things that actually tie in my love of World War II history and my love of science in around Sweden and Norway that I want to explore. Things like the Nazi atomic bomb project was all based out of there. So there's things like that I definitely want to explore. Obviously a 4-year undergrad degree in forensic science doesn't exactly qualify me to be an expert in most of the places that I'm hopefully going to end up this year. Some of the places I really, really want to visit, which is why it's amazing to be working with the guys at Cosmic Shambles, because they've got this amazing pool of talent and intelligence on hand who will be able to bounce in now and then into the series and add a little bit more depth, a few more layers of information than I can pluck out of Wikipedia. Maybe, fact check some of the nonsense ramblings I throw into it. So to keep track with what we're doing and to find out a little bit more about the origins of the project and what we're hoping to achieve with it, head to cosmicshambles.com/making tracks.